I stared at the photo on Finn's phone, my heart pounding. There he was, my husband of 15 years, locked in an intimate embrace with a woman I'd never seen before. Her long, red hair cascaded over his shoulder as they gazed into each other's eyes. I felt sick. Abby, did you find the number? Finn's voice echoed from downstairs. I swallowed hard, trying to compose myself. Just a second. I called back, my voice cracking. This wasn't supposed to happen. I'd only picked up his phone to find an emergency contact for Theo's school form. Now, my world was crumbling around me. Taking a deep breath, I descended the stairs, phone clutched tightly in my hand. Finn stood at the bottom, his model-esque features creased with concern. Everything okay, honey? You look pale. I held up the phone, my hand trembling. Who is she, Finn? His eyes widened, then quickly narrowed. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb, I snapped, turning the screen to face him. This woman. The one you're practically making out with in this picture. Finn's face cycled through shock, anger, and finally settled on nonchalance. Oh, her? That's just Ruby, an old friend from my modeling days. You're overreacting, Abby. Overreacting? I felt my voice rising. You're wrapped around each other like lovers, and I'm overreacting? He reached for the phone, but I snatched it away. It's nothing really. We ran into each other at a charity event last month. She was feeling emotional about some personal stuff, and I was comforting her. That's all. I wanted to believe him. God, how I wanted to believe him. But the intimacy in that photo, it spoke volumes. Finn, I need the truth, I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. Are you seeing someone else? He rolled his eyes, exasperation clear on his face. You're being paranoid, Abby. It's nothing. Just then, Theo's voice piped up from the living room. Mom? Dad? Is everything okay? Finn and I exchanged a look, a silent agreement to table this discussion for now. But as I watched him walk away to reassure our son, a cold determination settled in my chest. One way or another, I was going to get to the bottom of this. The next morning, I woke with a knot in my stomach. Finn's side of the bed was empty, already cold. I found him in the kitchen, sipping coffee and scrolling through his phone. Morning, I said, my voice tight. He glanced up, his expression guarded. Hey. I poured myself a cup of coffee, gathering my courage. Finn, we need to talk about yesterday. He sighed, setting down his phone. Abby, I told you, there's nothing to talk about. You're making a big deal out of nothing. Nothing. I felt my temper flare. Finn, I need the truth. Are you seeing someone else? His jaw clenched. You're being paranoid, Abby. It's nothing. Then why won't you let me see your phone? I challenged. Because it's private, he snapped. Just because we're married doesn't mean you get to snoop through my stuff. I slammed my mug down, coffee sloshing over the rim. Private? We've been married for 15 years, Finn. We have a son. There shouldn't be anything private between us. Just then, Theo shuffled into the kitchen, rubbing his eyes. Mom? Dad? Why are you yelling? Finn plastered on a smile. It's nothing, buddy. Just a little disagreement. Why don't you go get ready for school? As Theo retreated, I lowered my voice. This isn't over, Finn. I know something's going on, and I'm going to find out what it is. He rolled his eyes. Whatever, Abby. I'm going out. Where? I demanded. Does it matter? He retorted, grabbing his keys. I'll be back later. As the door slammed behind him, I felt a mix of anger and despair wash over me. How had we come to this? The man I'd loved and trusted for so long was now a stranger, keeping secrets and dismissing my concerns. I pulled out my phone, dialing my sister Clara's number. Clara? It's me. I need your help. Something's going on with Finn, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I'm here for you, Abby. Clara's reassuring voice came through. What do you need? I need you to help me find out where he's going, I said, resolve hardening in my chest. And who he's meeting. As I hung up, I caught sight of our family photo on the fridge. Finn's arm was around me, both of us smiling as Theo grinned between us. It felt like a lifetime ago. I'm going to find out the truth, I whispered to myself. no matter what it takes. I was folding laundry when the doorbell rang. My heart sank as I opened the door to find Dorothy, Finn's mother, standing there with a disapproving frown. "Abby, dear, we need to talk," she said, brushing past me into the house. I sighed, bracing myself. "What's on your mind, Dorothy?" She settled onto the couch, eyeing me critically. "Finn called me. He's very upset about your accusations. What's gotten into you?" I felt my temper flare. "What's gotten into me?" "I found a photo of him with another woman, Dorothy. He's the one with explaining to do." Dorothy waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, Abby, you're always at work. Maybe if you paid more attention to Finn, he wouldn't need other friends." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Are you serious?"
This isn't about me.
"It's about Finn's lies." "Lies?" Dorothy scoffed. "You're being dramatic.
Finn's a good boy.
He'd never cheat." I clenched my fists, fighting to keep my voice steady. "With all due respect, Dorothy, you don't know everything about your son." She stood up, her eyes flashing. "I know him better than you ever will. You're lucky to have him, Abby. Don't ruin your marriage with these ridiculous suspicions." As she stormed out, I felt a mix of anger and despair wash over me.
How could she be so blind?
And how dare she blame me for Finn's behavior? I grabbed my phone, dialing Clara's number. "Clara? It's me again. You won't believe what just happened." "What now?" Clara asked, concern evident in her voice. "Dorothy just left. She's taking Finn's side, saying I'm neglectful and paranoid." My voice cracked. Am I crazy, Clara? Am I seeing things that aren't there? "Absolutely not," Clara said firmly. "Listen, I've been doing some digging. Finn's been making a lot of calls to a number I don't recognize. I think it might be this Ruby woman." My heart raced. "Can you find out more?" "I'm on it," Clara assured me. "Don't let Dorothy get to you. We're going to get to the bottom of this." As I hung up, I heard Theo's voice from the doorway. "Mom, is everything okay?" I heard Grandma yelling. I forced a smile, pulling him into a hug. "Everything's fine, sweetie. Just a little disagreement." But as I held my son, I knew nothing was fine. My marriage was crumbling. My mother-in-law thought I was delusional, and my husband was hiding God knows what. One thing was certain. I wasn't going to let anyone gaslight me into doubting what I knew in my gut. Finn was hiding something, and I was going to find out what it was, no matter who tried to stand in my way. My phone buzzed with a text from Clara. "Meet me at Rosie's Diner."
Now.
Heart racing, I grabbed my keys and headed out. Clara was already there, a grim expression on her face. "What is it?" I asked, sliding into the booth. She pushed a manila envelope across the table. "You're not going to like this, Abby." With trembling hands, I opened it. Inside were photos of Finn and a red-headed woman, Ruby, I presumed, entering a hotel. The timestamp showed it was last weekend when Finn claimed he was on a work trip. "There's more," Clara said softly. I flipped through the photos, each one a dagger to my heart. Finn and Ruby embracing in the hotel lobby, sharing a passionate kiss by the elevator. My vision blurred with tears. "How did you get these?" I whispered. "I hired a private investigator," Clara admitted. "I knew you needed proof." I stared at the damning evidence, my world crumbling around me. "He's been lying to me all along." Clara reached across the table, squeezing my hand. "I'm so sorry, Abby. But now you know the truth." A cold resolve settled over me. "You're right. Now I know." As we left the diner, my phone rang. It was Finn. "Hey, honey," he said, his voice casual. "I've got another work trip this weekend. That big project, you know." My free hand clenched into a fist. "Oh, where to this time?" "Just upstate." "Boring stuff," he lied smoothly. "Right," I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. "Well, have a good trip." As I hung up, Clara looked at me questioningly. "What are you going to do?" I took a deep breath, my mind racing. "I'm going to catch him red-handed. This weekend, I'm following him to that hotel." "Abby, are you sure?" "That could be dangerous," Clara warned. "I need to see it with my own eyes," I insisted. "I need to confront them both." Clara nodded slowly. "Okay, but I'm coming with you." "You shouldn't do this alone." As we made plans, a mix of anger, hurt, and determination swirled within me. This weekend would change everything. I'd finally have my confrontation with Finn and this Ruby woman. No more lies. No more gaslighting. It was time for the truth to come out, no matter how painful it might be. As I drove home, rehearsing what I'd say to Finn when I caught him, one thought kept repeating in my mind. How could I ever trust anyone again after this? The weekend arrived, and my heart pounded as I followed Finn's car, Clara at my side. We watched him pull into the parking lot of an upscale restaurant, not the hotel we'd expected. Maybe he's meeting a client? Clara suggested half-heartedly. I shook my head, a cold certainty settling in my gut. Let's wait and see. 10 minutes later, a sleek red convertible pulled up. A stunning redhead stepped out, and my breath caught. It was her Ruby. She sauntered into the restaurant, and through the large windows, I watched as she joined Finn at a secluded table. I can't believe this, I whispered, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. Clara squeezed my arm. Do you want to leave? No, I said, steeling myself. I need to confront them. We entered the restaurant, the maitre d' eyeing us suspiciously. I spotted Finn and Ruby, their heads close together, laughing intimately. The sight made me nauseous. Taking a deep breath, I marched over to their table, Clara close behind. So this is your work trip, huh? I said, my voice trembling with rage. I hope you're both happy. Finn's head snapped up, his face draining of color. Abby? What are you doing here? Ruby looked between us, realization dawning on her face. Finn, is this your wife? Abby, it's not what it looks like.
Finn started.
Save it, I spat. I'm done with your lies. The restaurant had gone quiet, all eyes on our unfolding drama. Ruby stood up, grabbing her purse. I should go. Oh no, I said, blocking her path. You're part of this too. How long has this been going on? Ruby's eyes darted to Finn, who looked like he wanted to disappear. 6 months, she admitted quietly. The words hit me like a physical blow. 6 months. Half a year of lies, of betrayal. Abby, please, Finn pleaded. Let's talk about this at home. I laughed bitterly. Home? You mean the place where you've been lying to my face every day? I don't think so. Clara stepped forward, her voice cold. I think you both should leave. Now. As Finn and Ruby hurried out, their faces burning with shame, I collapsed into a chair, the weight of everything crashing down on me. What am I going to do, Clara? I whispered, tears finally spilling over. She sat beside me, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. You're going to be strong, Abby. And you're going to make him pay for what he's done. In that moment, something shifted inside me. The hurt was still there, raw and aching, but alongside it grew a fierce determination. Finn had destroyed our family, our trust, everything we'd built together. You're right, I said, wiping my eyes. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. As we left the restaurant, my mind was already racing, formulating a plan. Finn thought he could have his cake and eat it too? Well, I was about to show him just how wrong he was. I paced the living room, my mind racing with plans for revenge. Clara sat on the couch, watching me with concern. Abby, you need to calm down, she said softly. I whirled to face her. Calm down? How can I calm down when my entire life has been a lie? Classite. I know you're hurt, but hurt doesn't begin to cover it, I snapped. Then, taking a deep breath, I continued, I'm sorry. I need to do something. I can't let them get away with this. What are you thinking? Clara asked cautiously. I sat down beside her, my voice low and intense. I want to expose them. Not just to me, not just to you, but to everyone. Their families, their friends, everyone who thinks Finn is such a great guy and Ruby is Little Miss Perfect. Clara's eyes widened. Abby, that's pretty extreme. Is it? I challenged. They've been lying to everyone for 6 months. Don't they deserve to face the consequences? What about Theo? Clara asked gently. Have you thought about how this might affect him? I faltered for a moment, guilt washing over me. But then I remembered Finn's lies, his betrayal, and my resolve hardened. Theo deserves to know the truth about his father, I said firmly. And I deserve justice. Clara nodded slowly. Okay, if you're sure about this, I'm with you. What's the plan? I leaned in, my voice barely above a whisper. We're going to organize a family gathering. Everyone will be there. Our parents, Finn's mother, even Ruby's husband James. And then we're going to reveal everything. How? Clara asked. I pulled out my phone, showing her the photos of Finn and Ruby together. With these. And with the hotel receipts, the text messages, everything. We'll create a slideshow they can't ignore or explain away. As we worked on the details, a part of me wondered if I was going too far. But then I remembered the look on Finn's face when I caught him with Ruby, the casual way he'd lied to me for months, and my determination grew. Just then my phone buzzed. It was a text from Finn. Abby, please. Can we talk? I'm so sorry. I love you. I stared at the screen, tears pricking my eyes. For a moment, I wavered. Then I deleted the message without responding. Are you okay? Clara asked, noticing my expression. I took a deep breath, squaring my shoulders. I'm fine. Let's do this. It's time Finn and Ruby faced the music. As we continued planning, I pushed away any lingering doubts. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about reclaiming my dignity, my self-respect, and my future, and nothing was going to stand in my way. My heart raced as I surveyed the living room. Our family and friends milled about, chatting and laughing, oblivious to the storm about to break. Clara caught my eye from across the room and gave me a subtle nod. It was time. I cleared my throat. Everyone, if I could have your attention, please. The room fell silent, all eyes turning to me. Finn looked nervous, probably thinking this was some sort of reconciliation attempt. If only he knew. I've gathered you all here today because there's something you need to know. I began, my voice steady despite my trembling hands. Finn and I have been having some issues lately. Dorothy, Finn's mother, scoffed. Oh, Abby, don't air your dirty laundry in public. I ignored her, pressing on. But it's not just about us anymore. James. I turned to Ruby's husband, who looked confused. I think you deserve to know the truth about your wife and my husband. What are you talking about? James asked, his brow furrowed. Abby, don't. Finn started, but I cut him off. Take a look at these photos, I said, clicking a button on the remote. The large TV screen flickered to life, displaying the damning evidence Clara and I had gathered. Gasps filled the room as image after image appeared. Finn and Ruby entering hotels, sharing intimate moments, their affair laid bare for all to see. What is this? Ruby's shrill voice cut through the shocked silence. James, I can explain. But James was already on his feet, face red with anger. How could you? He roared, turning to Finn. She's my wife. Chaos erupted. Dorothy was shouting at me, calling me a liar. My parents looked horrified. Finn and Ruby were desperately trying to explain themselves to their respective spouses. And in the middle of it all, I stood, watching the destruction I'd wrought. Mom. Theo's small voice made me freeze. I turned to see my son standing in the doorway, eyes wide with confusion and fear. What's happening? In that moment, the satisfaction I'd felt crumbled away, replaced by a crushing wave of guilt. What had I done? Abby? Clara appeared at my side, her voice urgent. I think we need to get Theo out of here. I nodded numbly, moving towards my son. But Finn intercepted me, his face a mask of fury and shame. How could you do this? He hissed. In front of everyone? In front of our son. I met his gaze, my resolve returning. How could you destroy our family? I shot back. As the shouting continued around us, I realized this was far from over. The truth was out, but at what cost? And where did we go from here? With a heavy heart, I took Theo's hand and led him away from the chaos, leaving behind the wreckage of my marriage and the uncertain future that lay ahead. The days following the explosive revelation were a blur of tears, shouting matches, and tense silences. Finn moved out, staying with his mother Dorothy, who still blamed me for everything. Theo was confused and hurt, asking questions I didn't know how to answer. One afternoon, as I was sorting through Finn's things, deciding what to keep and what to discard, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Finn standing there, looking haggard and remorseful. Abby, please. I'm sorry. Let's talk about this, he pleaded. I felt a familiar ache in my chest, but steeled myself. It's too late, Finn. I'm moving on, and so is Theo. You can't just erase 15 years of marriage, he argued. What about our family? You erased it when you decided to cheat, I retorted. For 6 months, Finn. 6 months of lies. His shoulders slumped. I know. I messed up. But I love you, Abby. I love our family. Can't we try to work this out? For a moment, I wavered. The thought of our family whole again was tempting. But then I remembered the pain, the betrayal, the shattered trust. No, I said firmly. We can't go back. I deserve better, and so does Theo. As Finn left, defeat etched on his face, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. It wasn't easy, but it was right. Over the next few weeks, I focused on rebuilding. I threw myself into work, spent quality time with Theo, and leaned on Clara and my parents for support. Slowly but surely, we found our new normal. One evening, as Theo and I were having dinner, he looked up at me with serious eyes. Mom, are you okay? I smiled, reaching out to squeeze his hand. You know what, sweetie? I think I am. We've been through a lot, but we're stronger now. We have a new beginning. Theo nodded, a small smile playing on his lips. I love you, Mom. We'll be okay. In that moment, looking at my son's brave face, I felt a surge of hope. Yes, my marriage had ended, but my life hadn't. I had my son, my family, my career, and most importantly, my self-respect. As I tucked Theo into bed that night, I realized that this wasn't just an ending. It was a beginning, a chance to redefine myself, to show Theo what strength and resilience look like. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but I was ready to face it. Because now I knew my own worth, and I would never settle for less again. This was our new chapter, and I was determined to make it a good one.